Somewhere between Nevada and Oregon sits a stretch of desert most maps don't bother naming. No town, no gas station. Drive through it and you'd guess nobody has ever wanted this land. Buried under that dirt sits a deposit that may be worth more than the yearly economy of Portugal. Lithium, enough to supply batteries for 1 million electric vehicles a year. And General Motors has already written a check for $650 million to get first access to it. But the deposit doesn't sit inside one state. A border drawn in the 1860s by surveyors who had never heard the word lithium cuts the formation in half. 2 states, 2 governments, 2 mining codes, 1 deposit that doesn't recognize either of them. The North American tectonic plate has been sliding southwest over a mostly stationary plume of hot mantle material for more than 16 million years. As the plate moved, the plume punched through the crust in a chain of eruptions, each one northeast of the last. Yellowstone is the most recent. The first was here, on the Nevada-Oregon border. The USGS considers McDermott Caldera one of the oldest volcanic complexes on the entire Yellowstone hotspot track. 16 million years ago, a supervolcano erupted here and released roughly 1,000 cubic kilometers of molten rock. The ground collapsed into a bowl more than 40 kilometers wide. That's larger than the city of Los Angeles. Over the following centuries, rain and snowmelt filled the crater. A lake formed, and for thousands of years, it sat there collecting ash and sediment on the bottom. Lithium from the volcanic rock dissolved into the lake water, and those lakebed clays absorbed it in concentrations that have no real comparison anywhere else on the planet. Most lithium clay deposits average about 0.4% lithium by weight. The clays inside McDermott run from 1.3% to 2.4%, roughly 3 to 6 times the global average. When a research team from Lithium Americas, Columbia University, and Oregon State confirmed those numbers in a 2023 study published in Science Advances, this single basin in the high desert passed Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni to become the largest known lithium deposit on Earth. The Nevada-Oregon border was set in the 1860s, decades before anyone understood volcanic geology well enough to know what a caldera was. Surveyors ran a line along a meridian using a compass. They were closing out a territorial dispute, not mapping mineral wealth. That line landed directly on top of the McDermott caldera and split it almost evenly in 2. This is the same pattern that shaped half of Western America. Congress drew Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah as near-perfect rectangles because straight lines were faster to survey than following terrain. Nobody was thinking about what sat underground. The geology just ended up wherever the convenience lines landed. At McDermott, the Nevada side holds the Thacker Pass deposit at the caldera's southern end. The Oregon side holds a separate deposit at the northern end, controlled by an Australian company called Jindalee Resources. Jindalee's pre-feasibility study, completed in late 2024, projects a 63-year mine life and a resource of 21.5 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. 1 deposit, 2 owners, 2 completely separate permitting timelines. Thacker Pass is under construction. The Oregon side hasn't even submitted a mine proposal yet, so billions of dollars are flowing in. GM, the Department of Energy, an Australian mining company listing on the NASDAQ. If the economics are this clear, what's slowing it down? The Paiute name for Thacker Pass is Peehee Mu'Huh. It means rotten moon. The name comes from the crescent shape of the pass and from what happened there. On September 12, 1865, the 1st Nevada Cavalry rode into a Paiute camp at this pass before dawn and opened fire on men, women, and children while they slept. Dozens were killed. The bodies were left where they fell. An 1868 diary from the region recorded many Indian skulls and other remains. The Reno Sparks Indian Colony has compared excavating this ground to disturbing Arlington National Cemetery. The mine was permitted by the Bureau of Land Management without consulting those tribes first. A federal judge later acknowledged the BLM could have done more, but ruled the permitting process was legally sufficient. The National Congress of American Indians and the Intertribal Council of Nevada both passed resolutions opposing the project. The tribes lost the legal challenge, and construction began in March 2023. Today, more than 1,300 construction workers are on site. Bechtel is managing the build. A $2.26 billion DOE loan is funding the bulk of it. General Motors holds a 38% ownership stake and a 10-year exclusive offtake agreement on Phase 1 production, with an option to extend for 5 more years. Lithium Americas estimates the mine will produce enough lithium carbonate to support roughly 1 million EVs per year. The company projects a 40-year mine life on the Nevada side alone. Across the state line, a different clock is ticking. Jindalee's Oregon deposit was selected as one of the first 10 projects in the federal Fast 41 permitting initiative, designed to speed up approvals for strategic infrastructure. The company aims to secure federal permits by the end of 2028 and complete a full feasibility study by late 2027. 2 mines, separated by a state line and possibly a decade of permitting. China processes the majority of the world's lithium, regardless of where the raw ore was mined. The U.S. currently has 1 operating lithium mine, Silver Peak in southern Nevada, in production since the 1960s. The entire country imports the vast majority of what it uses. Every EV battery, every grid-scale storage system backing up a wind farm, runs through a supply chain that passes through a geopolitical rival. McDermott changes that equation on paper. A deposit this large, on domestic soil, with a car manufacturer already locked in as buyer, represents the kind of supply chain independence that federal policy has been chasing for years. The Department of Defense has already contributed funding to upgrade local power infrastructure around Thacker Pass, but a deposit split across 2 states means 2 governors, 2 sets of environmental agencies, 2 political calculations about when and whether to move. Nevada said yes. Oregon hasn't been asked the question yet. The geology is continuous. The politics are not.